right, for our next step, we are going to draw the openings on our shapes that our object is going to wind through. Now, when you go to draw your openings, you want to draw circles on the fronts of your geometric forms and ovals on the sides. This helps to create that illusion of depth. You want to use these circles and ovals as the holes that your object will wind through as it goes through all the geometric forms. You should have at least 2 holes per box, but no more than 4. Be sure to look back at your sketch to see where you plan for the object to wind through your forms as you are placing your openings. Remember, things distort as they go back in space. This is why we would have ovals on the tops, bottoms, and sides of our forms instead of a circle like the front. Notice on my house forms, I chose to create doors and windows for my object to weave through. I decided the holes made it look less like a house. Now, this is optional. You could choose to use circles and ovals for all of your forms. If you want to try something different, you're welcome to. Keep in mind though, if you use a different shape for the sides, the top or the bottom, you have to use the vanishing point and align your ruler as you draw the dimension lines of that opening. So if it was vertical, you could just go straight up and down, but anything else, you'd have to connect back to your vanishing point. My recommendation would be to just draw circles and ovals for your openings on your forms. So now I'm ready to start winding my object. So I'm going to start by drawing my front part of my object here. So the starting point. Now I'm not going to add all my details at first. I want to kind of map out my path. So I'm thinking it'll come in here, and I want this to kind of curve down and around like this. And then, let's see, I think it's going to come up through the window here. And I want it to curve down. And as I'm doing this, I'm looking at my path that I had on my sketch, right? So I can see this comes up pretty high in here. Because I need some room to have the toilet paper kind of curve here. And sometimes what helps too is to lightly draw the line through to show where it would go. And then we just erase it on the house, and then I know where it needs to start here. Okay, and I think I'm gonna skip this hole. I'm gonna have it come out the back side of the box here. I think that feels more natural. So try to have 2 holes per box if you can. If there's like 1 box that you need just 1 on, that's fine. Okay, so here I have it coming up. Then I'm having it come out a hole on the back side here. Come up, and then I was trying to think about how it might fold over on itself, where it's a flat object. So I decided to have kind of a fold here. Okay, so the key thing, you want to extend your object lines into like your openings, right? So here, the key thing with the holes, you want to have them curve around the outside edge and look like they tuck behind your object. It took me a little while I was sketching to get it so that it felt like the toilet paper was going through the openings in a natural way. So remember, this is something you can practice on your sketch and then use your sketch to help guide as you are drawing it onto your final paper. Remember, it adds interest to your artwork to have an object or detail at the start and the end of your winding shape. So for example, the toilet paper roll is my starting detail, and it leads through all the houses and boxes all the way back to the numbers 2020 at the end. So once you have your winding object going through your forms, then take a moment to draw whatever detail or object you want to put at the end of your winding object. And then my final step for this process, now that I've got my object running through my sketch, it's time to clean up my lines, right? So if the toilet paper is going in front of the house here, I would get rid of the house lines, okay? But here it's going behind the house, so we want to leave the house lines. Here it's coming out of the house, so we can go ahead and erase that part of our window. Then here it's going through the house, so we wouldn't see that bottom line. Here we can't see what would be inside the toilet paper. So any lines that fall inside the toilet paper, we can no longer see. Or any lines that fall inside our object, we can no longer see. You can also erase or clean up any extra lines that you no longer need. So if your object's looking a little messy, you can erase and redraw to clean up its edges as you go. When you are all finished, double check, does your object wind through every form that you have? Remember, you have to have at least 5 forms. You could have up to 7 forms. And also, you could have one form that only has one opening on it, and you could have up to 4 openings. So you could have 2, 3, 4 openings on the rest of your forms. So good luck, and as always, if you have questions, let me know.